Hey, how's it going, guys? So we're back with another Star Citizen video. If you're new channel, welcome. We're going to be checking out another Inside Star Citizen video. This one is called Inside Star Citizen Alpha 4.0 Playing with Fire. Now, playing with fire is the one thing, your parents told you not to do when you were a kid. I was one of them. And, basically, I'm really excited to see what this video is all about. But I think I have one idea what this video may be. I remember in some videos that when we go into engineering and the ship was taking damage, the fire kept on coming up and the doors lock and the doors close and lock to seal off that area, so that way the fire doesn't spread to the rest of the ship. And I remember you were trapped in that room, and the only way to get the doors back open is to extinguish the fire. So you grab a fire extinguisher and start spraying the fire to put it out, so that way it releases the security lock on the doors and it could open and you could exit the room. So I'm guessing that's what this video may be about, but we'll see. So without anything else, let's just jump right into it.
Last week we explored some of the new adventures available to players in space.
Wait, hold on. Jared Huckabee, doorway dancer? I swear to God, where did they come up with these ideas?
Coming Alpha 4.0. But there are even more dangers to be found within your spacecraft and vehicles. Fire is blazing a trail towards its awaited debut in the persistent universe. And while we don't want to burn any bridges with the resource management team,
I see that joke.
Jump out of the fire and into their frying pan in just a few weeks. Wow, I really bet their ears are burning. We're fired up to give the VFX arsonists a chance to set the world on fire this week, or at least just the interior of spaceships, because we don't want them to burn themselves out playing with fire. I'm out of idioms now. I'm gonna go see if I can add more fuel to the fire.
Oh, okay, I see how it is. Pizza. Bro, the people are on fire, spray them.
In 4.0, we'll have fire inside of ships. For our initial rollout, we didn't really want players to start fires everywhere. The poor service they really wouldn't be able to handle it, so we decided to focus on the interior of ships. They're smaller, more contained, and more controlled. Fire is tightly integrated with the resource network system and a great fit for a first release within the spaceships, where resource network will be focusing on as many ships as we can. Starting a fire is based on damage, and different kinds of damage.
Fires can be caused by ship items when they hit zero health. There are also ways for ship items to cause fires in the normal running and operation of them. We're currently looking at making it so that when they misfire and they have the highest level of wear, that there is a chance that they can also cause fires.
But other types of damage, like impacts from weapons or explosions, they could also ignite a fire. Another way to start a fire is getting the environment hot enough to actually get your surfaces to autocombust. For example, if you open up your door on a really, really hot planet and the hot air starts to flow into your ship, then if that air is hot enough, and some surfaces might start igniting from that.
Seriously? I could open my door and my ship might catch fire?
You would need a room to reach, I think it's 1,000 Kelvin for those materials to start to smoke.
So it's something that's technically possible, but it's not likely.
If the planet is warm enough, yes.
Is there a planet warm enough to do that right now?
Don't think so.
Okay, I just want to be sure. You're saying systemically it's possible.
Systemically it's possible, yeah.
It's technically...
Yeah, I was thinking what planet's hot enough that you could just open a door and your ship's gonna catch on fire? Because then that's a planet you don't need to go to right now.
Possible, but very unlikely.
Don't worry, everybody.
Oh, dude,
Part of the
crazy,
fire hazard system propagation is based on the fire triangle, which is oxygen, fuel, and temperature. Oxygen is tracked by the room system. The atmosphere, that is, most rooms in the universe have their atmosphere tracked, including oxygen. The fuels, they will be tracked on the surfaces, so every surface in the universe is marked up with a surface type. That surface type has different properties for fire propagation to work. The heat that is usually from a ignition source is the damage that could happen, but also if you have an object already on fire, that
I like those
could
little like
start
fires
a
dropping.
fire again.
I don't know
based
what
on
they're
the
called,
heat
but
that fire is emitting. Fire will start small if you have a small ignition point, so it will not start blazing immediately, so it will start propagating quite slowly. But if you leave it untended, then the fire will start growing, and the more it grows, the faster the propagation will happen and the larger the fire will get.
It's quite complicated to have a control over that much energy, heat. It's a balance. I think that's the hardest thing to get, having the balance, having the fire texture that works well with the particle behavior, with the heat, the sparks.
But
You
looks-
need to have the
but
whole
looks
feeling
great,
of
though.
heat and danger, and it's when you get this spot where it really starts to make you look certainly afraid of it that it starts gets good, I would say.
Each of the materials that we have marked up, they have their properties, and we can set a material to be combustible or not. Most surfaces will be combustible. A few exceptions, such as glass, will not be. But the ones
Makes
that
sense.
are, especially in ships, we decided to go for a more tech approach. So even if metal itself will not easily combust, we assume that behind that metal there will be pipes and cables that can catch fire.
Okay,
based
makes
on
sense,
the
yeah.
properties that each surface type has. For example,
So I get it. Like as they're showing right now, some surfaces will catch on fire faster than others. Like wood floors, padding, padded walls, things like that. I was thinking about but what about the metal walls? They shouldn't be able to catch on fire like that. But then again, if there was something behind those metal walls, like maybe a drywall or wood, or as you said, like pipes that could easily combust, then they will be able to like catch on fire too.
wood will burn different from rubber or plastic or metal. So the propagation between those will interact differently. Don't worry, not everything will catch fire at the same time. We have these different properties that will cause different surfaces to catch fire at different times.
You have to think of the other things that can also catch fire. Things like your cargo, which you probably don't want to catch fire because if it burns out, you will lose it. Other things might be loose ship items that you have laying around just in case you want to repair your ship.
The player
Oh, man, the
itself
gun.
will not be able to catch fire, but the player will feel the influences of fire in their environment. So if you step into the fire, then you will take damage.
Minor injury.
If you are near
God.
to the fire, you will feel the heat. So your actor status will start showing up with higher temperatures. If the fire is not managed properly, for example, your life support can't feed in enough oxygen, then oxygen will be drained and your player will start to asphyxiate.
Why can't I set people on fire?
Tech.
Will you commit here and now that someday we'll set people on fire?
I will commit to nothing.
I tried, everybody.
People will have different ways of setting fires to ships, hopefully other people's ships, not your own. It is important to know for 4.0 that we will
Knowing some individuals, they will set their ship on fire by accident.
not have fire outside of ships. So if you set fire to an item inside one ship, you can bring it to another ship, given that the medium that you're traveling through has enough oxygen to sustain the fire. You can set fire by
Aw,
damaging
penguin.
items in the ship, so shooting them when an item dies that has a chance to set fire. Other ways to set fire are bringing in ignited items and placing them in someone else's ship.
Hey, it works. Oh,
One of
that's
the biggest challenges that we recently had with fire was the networking, and Francesco has done a really, really amazing job with getting that ready.
the presence or absence of fire is a very, very important thing to convey to players. You don't want a player stepping into a thing that doesn't look like it's burning or avoiding a thing that looks like it's burning. Synchronizing fire was a very important part of making sure that the feature functioned correctly, and we have a lot of data that fire generates, and a lot of data doesn't work well over networks. There was a lot of work being put into relying as much as possible on the fact that our fire system is stable, it's deterministic, it will always do the same thing given the same initial parameters. There were a lot of cases. There were cases of players joining in late. They obviously don't get where the fire was 3 hours ago. They just say now, they need to know where it is now. There's players who have really bad internet connectivity or servers struggling a lot, situations that bring a halt to the continuous progress of fire from one end or the other, and we need to reconcile that. So we needed a way to know when fire was no longer suitably similar
She was smiling.
between what the player was seeing and what
everything's
the
on
server thought
fire,
was
but
there,
I'm smiling.
and refresh it at that point and minimize how much data we needed to refresh it at that point. We are pretty happy with the way it works now. We have it so that it sends as little data as possible to sort of create these summarized states for the client and server, and only when these differ enough do we actually send that relatively big, still compressed, but relatively big snapshot to synchronize everything back together.
A fire that is left unchecked will spread throughout your ship. And if it does this and it reaches your ship components,
System is offline.
then you'll be having a very bad day. And this could lead to your ship being both crippled or destroyed. So this means you will be able to put out fires using a fire extinguisher. Where possible, we have made sure that fire extinguishers are readily available throughout our ships.
The extinguishers, they're very simple to use. They are point and shoot. You have to be careful that you don't start flailing wildly with your extinguisher. If you have to aim at the base of your fire and then keep it there to cool down the surface and take away enough of the heat and the oxygen so that the fire calms down.
There goes someone's room.
There will be a temperature readout where you can see how strong the fire is still where you're aiming.
And you need to keep your finger on the trigger until it actually goes out. Fires can just be smoking there, and technically it's very close to being on fire. So you really do want to make sure it's really out before you move on. Because if you just leave them smoking and then go wandering off, there's a good chance it will heat
it's
up
gonna
again
restart.
and catch fire again. It's worth knowing that a fire extinguisher has a limited amount of ammo within it. To your benefit, you can also take your fire extinguishers back to where they are stored, plug them in, and then they will recharge their ammo. However, it is important to know that if your ship doesn't have a functioning life support at this moment, the recharge will not work.
If you leave the fire completely untended, then your ship can completely burn out, so it will look completely black. If the life support can keep up providing enough oxygen, then it will just keep going until all of the fuel, that is the surfaces,
This kind of looks like the 890
or
jump
if
yacht.
the life support is not running, then your fire will start to diminish. But if you don't do anything, the life support will keep feeding in oxygen enough for the fire to be sustained and start spreading everywhere.
You don't want people to put fires out?
No, I want them to die in a fire.
Views and opinions of Leo do not represent those of Cloud Imperium Games, Private Space Industries, or its subsidiaries.
Jared said that really fast. He's like, hey man, this is not us. This is just him, man. This is the disclaimer. I gotta listen to that again.
Views and opinions of Leo do not represent those of Cloud Imperium Games, Private Space Industries, or its subsidiaries.
There are
Why would you
more
bet he
ways
was a
to
pyromaniac?
extinguish fire. With the life support and resource network, you can cut power to your life support for a room, and that means that there will be no more oxygen provided, which means that the fire itself will start using up all the oxygen, and it will extinguish slowly by itself. Another way is to open up your doors to open space, and that will mean that all of the atmosphere is being sucked out into open space, and again, no more oxygen.
But you gotta be really careful because if you're in that room, you don't have an oxygen mask or anything like that, you're gonna asphyxiate or die. So it could cost you your life too if you're not careful.
For your fire to continue. After a fire, you can repair your items or replace them. Fire can damage your interior of your spaceship. We have some very beautiful burn decals that Francesco and Guillaume have been working on to show you where your ship has been burnt. The visual damage to the surfaces is not something you can repair manually, but you can go to a repair station and repair your ship there.
Oh,
and
okay.
that
So you
will
can't do
get
this
rid of
yourself.
all
You
of
have to
the
go to a station.
visual burn.
But if I want to leave it burned because it looks cool, I can do that?
You can do that. It persists.
Well, there
I'm
goes the logo.
very happy with the current progress. It's been a very long road for the team to get to this point. It's amazing to finally be able to roll this out to the players.
It's amazing to work with. It's just so fun, and the results are very good and very quick. So
I'm looking forward to see what people will do with it, like what kind of weird edge cases they'll find, and we'll probably have to fix up. But it's as long as the servers don't die because of fire, and I think we will be able to deal with it.
So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned where and how fire will make its first appearances in the persistent universe, in your spaceships. How it'll spread and the dangers of leaving it unchecked. Your spaceships will burn and maybe go boom. And both how you'll put them out or potentially spread the fire to other vehicles. And I'm banking y'all might find some ways that we missed. Now don't forget the ship showdown is still underway. It's your chance to vote on which vehicles you like best, as well as send John Crew messages on social media that he legally has to respond to during this time.
He legally
Hi
has
all, David here. The only thing I have to say about this is no. Just no. Our program will now conclude.
For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the people and process of game development with you, and we'll see you all here next week. It's time to go Pyro Planet side.
Anything at the end? Oh, it looks like it.
How do you start a fire? First, you contact
Okay.
ATC.
Yeah, I could start with that. That would be good. I could say that. You want me to do that? Well, first of all, you start. Yeah, you call the ATC and they set fire to your ship.
Oh man. I mean, it's really obvious that they had a lot of fun with this video. Playing with fire. Oh man. Like I said, they really are like a fun group to work with. I mean, they are amazing people. They have a lot of humor. They keep it light and humorous, but still get the job done. That is an amazing environment to work in. But I mean, like it's kind of like the Marine Corps right now. I mean, like my platoon, we get along so well. We keep it light, humorous. I mean, there's gonna be moments where we like, oh my god, this is so difficult and things like that. But we still look after each other, keep each other accountable, and keep our spirits up. So that's what I really love about my training platoon. But anyways, right here, the fire spreading throughout the ship, it looks cool, and I like how they take into account like, you know, oxygen and also like those kind of factors and properties. And some surfaces will burn faster or differently compared to others, like wood and rubber and padded walls will catch on fire faster than than like, you know, metal walls, things like that. So that's really cool that they made it as realistic as possible. But anyways, this was a really cool Inside Star Citizen. I really enjoyed it. There was a lot of laughter in this one, so that was great. But that's all I got for today. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. Hit that notification bell so you know when I drop another video. And also shout out to all my members, subscribers, viewers. You guys are amazing. You guys are the reason why the channel keeps on going. If you have any other videos you guys want me to check out, please put it down in the comments below and I'll make note of it. So without anything else, I'll see you guys next time.